Don't be afraid to look dumb, because we're all dumb at the end of the day. We don't know everything that there is to know about anything, especially in this world that we're in right now. No one knows anything. Cool. So, hello, and welcome to Mercury Rising. This is Joji, and this is another episode of Keeping Up with the Moon, the daily show where I break down whatever the moon is doing and try to make some sense of it. Hopefully I do, but sometimes I might not. Especially right now, as I'm just first starting these things, I'm gonna make tons of mistakes, so bear with me. Thank you. Anyways, like always, these come straight from my Instagram, where I post daily delineations, focus on what the moon is doing. So it's always best to go there, read the delineation or read the post, then come here, get a little bit of an explanation of what that is, and then after, do some thinking. See if I was wrong about the things I said, see if I was right about the things I said, and hopefully once you make those discoveries, you come back to this video and leave a comment so I know how to make these a little bit better and a little bit more useful for you. Because as much as I'm making these for me, I'm also making these for you. So yes, with that, let's get to what day is today? Today will be the 11th. So yes, with that, let's get to August 11th. Right. Billy Graham, we're not talking about him right now. I have a study group that we do weekly chart studies, and this week is Billy Graham, just so you know. Just in case you were wondering why I was looking at Billy Graham's chart. Anyways, today is actually quite an exciting day. Those Virgo situations that we've been covering for the last few days are about to look a little bit different. Before, we had Mercury outside of Virgo, actually an aversion to Virgo over there in Leo. But now Mercury is about to enter their own sign, where they're exalted and also where they feel quite at home at. And this is good for Mercury and all, but it's also good for both Venus and Martial issues, because then they can get a little bit of the mercurial supervision that they need in Virgo, especially Venus, since she is a little lost in the realm of Virgo. The other reason why that's actually really cool is that just as Mercury goes into Virgo to provide Venus with some help, the moon enters Libra. And yes, it would have been better for the moon to be in Virgo with Mercury. It would be nice, but it's nice that Venus, now that she has a little bit more help, she can also help the moon a little bit. This might be sounding like a whole bunch of astrological gibberish, I understand. But summary is that things are looking a little bit better as far as Virgo things go. We've been talking about goal setting and getting busy, but now that Mercury is in there, these can be a little bit more structured. Venus and Mars and Virgo alone, they can be a little bit, they do have the intention of getting things done, don't get me wrong, but they might lack a little bit of direction. So with Mercury there, we get a little bit of that direction moving forward. So nice. That's cool and all, but before we go there, before we get here, we need to talk about the Venus and Moon conjunction, which I said I was going to talk about yesterday, and I just skipped it all of a sudden. I know, I just skipped in time and I'm going back. So yes, Venus and Moon conjunction. The theme that I really am paying attention here with this conjunction is this idea of like work as pleasure. When I was writing the horoscopes for Instagram, one thing that I really thought about was this song by Dorian Electra called Career Boy. I'm a career boy. It's really cool. I'm probably gonna put the link somewhere. And I think it's worth watching, because now that we're having such a focus in Virgo, especially as Mercury will also go in there later on, be exalted, run the show, and do all of that stuff, it might be really easy to focus on things that are just practical, and that's why I keep going back to the idea of work, because Virgo is great out working. But with Venus in Virgo, we can sometimes even fall in love with our own work. There's many places where that can come from, but one of the main ones is certainly the idea of purpose. and finding purpose with work. But this whole Moon and Venus conjunction, that can be even intensified to a little bit of uncomfortable degree, especially since the conjunction is happening before Mercury goes into Virgo, and we have a little bit of that direction and that help that Mercury can provide. As far as this is concerned, I think this is more challenging conjunction rather than not. If you pay attention over here to Neptune, who's actually opposing this conjunction, you can get a real sense of what the problem might be. This love for work, or this love for finding some sort of purpose through the things that we do, can come from a place of escapism, or a sense of maybe like worthlessness. I know, harsh words, but with with Venus and Virgo, one of the issues that we can run into is being overly critical of ourselves and overly critical of others too. As harsh and difficult as it may be, it can become a source of comfort. With the Neptune opposition, we can see that maybe that sense of comfort is not necessarily rooted in something that's concrete or constructive. If this conjunction is going more down the route of those feelings of worthlessness for you, and that you feel like you need to do these things in order to feel worthy of any sort of gratification or anything like that. This idea... And to really unpack this, I think I'll have to backtrack a little bit to the new moon and the whole Saturn versus Sun, the hero versus the villain narrative that we're currently going through in this new lunar cycle. If we're talking about the early stages of the cycle going through Virgo, and Virgo almost representing like really the training grounds before we get to beat the final boss, we might run into the problem of almost feeling like, because we are not quite there yet, because we haven't mastered our craft, or because we haven't done all the tasks in our to-do list, we're not necessarily worthy of even fighting the boss. And I don't know if you see a problem with that, but I most certainly do. Again, a training ground, it's supposed to be the training ground. You're supposed to make mistakes, and you're not supposed to have everything figured out. So to base everything on what you do, knowing that what you do right now is far from what you need to be doing later in the future, or far from the mastery that you will achieve in the future, you will always have this nagging sense that you're close to the finish line, but you're never there. I think this is really important, because if we're leaving the training grounds of the first half of this solar Saturnian situation, now we enter Libra, where we have to relate and learn how to commune with other people who are having like a similar sort of mission that we have. Some of them might be a little bit further in development, some of them might be a little bit behind. But one thing that's really good to mention about the ingress into Libra is that now, I think tomorrow, the moon will trine Saturn. And if Saturn is the final boss, then a trine, which is a rather harmonious aspect, is very welcome. But here's the thing. I think this trine is here to help, but only to help those who are willing to speak up. And that's why I think that leaving that Virgoan, I'm not good enough to do this, or I could done this better, behind is really useful right now. Because right now is really the time where you have to be humble enough to be willing to ask for help. Yeah, now that we're in Libra, we're talking about relating, balancing relationships back and forth and all of those. Venus, the ruler, is still in Virgo, so we're gonna be dealing with the Virgo thing for quite a while. So stepping outside of that mentality might be a little bit difficult. And when I speak about mentality, is that not good enough thing. So I think that the push that we need today, and especially as we head towards tomorrow, is feeling comfortable with telling yourself that you're not good enough now, but you will be later. Yeah, so just leaving those unnerving feelings that you could be doing better behind, but not just that, because those will stay there for a while. Like, even though Venus will soon be leaving Virgo as well, we'll still have Mercury and Mars in there for quite a little bit. So yeah, those Virgo thoughts are still gonna stay there, but I think today is about getting comfortable with them and not letting yourself be defeated by them. Because at the end of the day, they're very useful. like I said a few days back when the moon was conjunct Mars, they can really be used as fuel towards the completion of the cycle. So please do that, but remember that that doesn't mean you have to do it all alone. Help is there and help is on the way, but remember that closed mouths don't get fed. So you do have to speak up. And I think this is what the lunar decan of Libra is really talking about as far as this particular cycle is concerned, is that you have to communicate what it is that you're feeling insecure about for the teacher or the master of that craft to even show up. And that master or that teacher may or may not be a real person. It could be like an event or something that will teach you the things that you need to know. But they're there. You know? So speak up. Don't be afraid to look dumb, because we're all dumb at the end of the day. We don't know everything that there is to know about anything, especially in this world that we're in right now. No one knows anything. And if we all bring the little that we know together, we're gonna eventually have somewhat of a full picture of what to do. So, yes, get talking, communicate. Yes, I don't know what else to say. I think that's pretty much it for today. I hope these have been making sense. I hope you've been enjoying them. So, yes, just remember, it's okay to suck. It's okay to ask for help. And tomorrow, especially, will be the day to ask for help. And we'll go through that when tomorrow comes. So, with that said, have a fantastic day. Bye-bye. I'd like to take this moment to thank and credit my teachers and people who have influenced me throughout my studies. These are also people who I may quote from time to time. Vadius Fallons, Dimitra George, Patrick Watson, Firmicus Maternus, Dorotheus, Lisa Shine, Austin Coppa, Kelly Surtees, Gemini Brett, Samuel Reynolds, Hermes, T. Susan Chang, Mel Meline, Chris Brennan, Saint Expedite, Gordon White, Connor Habib, and Eric L. Arnenson.